Socialism in general has a record of failure so blatant that only an intellectual could ignore or evade it. Thomas Sowell. What's up, everybody? We back again with another episode. Let's dive right in, take a look at the debt. Debt is just steadily climbing. As we look at the numbers compared to last week, we're up 90 billion compared to last week. I had to go double check those numbers to make sure that I wasn't looking at them wrong, but nope, the numbers are right. 90 billion. The government just keeps printing money, keeps devaluing the US dollar, keeps taking everyone's time and energy, making people have to work more. Cost of living is going up, all that good stuff. You guys already know. You can go check that out. Let's take a look at some numbers. Bitcoin's price is at $64,090. Like I said, I'm pricing everything in USD. Compared to last week, Bitcoin price was at 59,780. So we're up about 4,370. At the time I was writing everything down, the price was at 64,150. So that's the price I'm basing it off of. But this is real time updating as I'm recording this. Sats per dollar is 1,561. It's going to be nice when we're at 1,000, and then we'll see how long it takes us to get to 100 sats per USD and what that will even be able to buy at that time. If we go from the all-time highs, we're down 13% from the all-time high, which was reached in March 14th, 2024. And let's see, what else are we at? For reachable nodes, we're at 19,450 compared to last week. We were at 19,115, so we're up about 300 reachable nodes. And let's keep going down the line. Here's another, it's pretty much the same thing as what I was just looking at. It has more of the blockchain and things like that. Give it a moment to load here. This is the timechaincalendar.com if you're, more into aesthetics and things like that. So this is just a different look. And then it also is going off. You can see the block height and things like that. So all that information is on here as well, but just visually, depending on how you like to look at it and interpret it. So if you like this look better, this is something you can look at. You can see all the same information on there, just another cool visual. If we take a look at top assets by market cap, we see Bitcoin is in 10th spot. It's been holding that spot for pretty steady for a while. But once we get out of the twos, which I don't think will be too much longer, but once we climb out of these twos, it'll be in about the 6th spot. And then it has to work its way up out of the twos, out of the threes, and then eventually we'll start trickling down into gold. So I'm actually going to start tracking the market cap for gold. I want to see if this number steadily goes down as Bitcoin steadily goes up, because I know a lot of these other asset classes, people are going to start catching on and see, and I think people are going to start jumping these ships and get into the Bitcoin ship. It only makes sense. So if we take a look at the RSI, so the RSI is just an indicator showing if an asset is oversold or overbought. Anything that's 70 or above is considered overbought. Anything that's 30 or below is considered oversold. So you can go on this and you can go back in history and see every time that Bitcoin was considered oversold, it was a great time to buy. You would be up right now. And then you can go far back and see. That's just another strategy. I thought about doing something with that, making buys, but I'm just sticking with the DCA in every Monday, which I'll give you guys an update on that as well. If we look at Plan B's monthly RSI, we're at 66. So this chart is on the daily RSI, which is at 58. And currently we're above the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, and we're hovering around 50. So Bitcoin is going to make a move, either way. And, it's looking like it's trying to go up. So I'll keep watching that and see where we go from there. Some new news since last week: silent payments are coming to better protect Bitcoin users. So that's a lot of people's concern, is that Bitcoin doesn't necessarily have complete privacy, because when you go through an exchange, you have to KYC, you have to know your customer, you have to give your personal information, your social security number, and things like that in order for you to buy Bitcoin on a lot of exchanges in America. There are other ways to get around buying Bitcoin through exchanges that are not KYC. You have to pay a little bit more And then you also have to be able to find um, trusted places that you can make those purchases. But as far as the ones like Coinbase and Strike and River and all these other places, you have to put in your information. And then so, you're being tracked. Once you send from Cash App, Coinbase, Strike, if you send it to your wallet, there's a trail of that. So it's not necessarily private. There are innovations happening, things like eCash and Cashew and things like that that are making, privacy a little bit better. And there's people that are, innovating in the space, trying to give people more privacy, which, I think based on where we're going, what we're seeing happen in a lot of countries, like in the UK right now, with all the censorship, which what we've seen in Canada in the past, and a lot of other countries, the government should know where you're spending your money at. So, I'm all for privacy, even for people that, aren't, people think privacy means that you're doing something illegal or things like that. It's just you don't want people in your business. If you're a woman and you're buying hygiene products, you don't want the government knowing. Not saying that you're hiding anything. Or if you're a male and you're buying certain things that you don't want people to know about, everyone should have that right to be able to purchase things in privacy. So shout out to them for that. Here's some other news. 4,500 companies now pay their employees in Bitcoin using Bitwage. Bitwage now serves over 4,500 companies and 90,000 users. So that's dope. They're just continuing to innovate with that. So I'm gonna keep my eye on them, see how those numbers continue to increase. And it's good to see these businesses starting to catch on, as we've seen last week, some of the news about how over in the Middle East, in UAE, they were recognizing Bitcoin as a way to pay their employees and things like that. So it's good to keep seeing that innovation happening. Tim Draper invests in Arc Labs to make Bitcoin payments easier. So pretty soon, and I see us getting to a point how easy it is to do tap to pay. We're going to get to a point like that for Bitcoin, probably not for layer one, more so for layer two, liquid and lightning payments and things like that. And if you guys don't know who Tim Draper is, he's, an American venture capitalist investor. Some companies that he's invested in: Hotmail, Skype, Tesla, The Ring, Twitter, DocuSign, Coinbase, Robinhood. So he can see something that a lot of people, can't see, and he catches on early, and he's been in the Bitcoin space for a good while now. So he's putting his money behind that. 94% of Bitcoin supply has now been issued. So we're actually living in history. All of us alive watching this right now, or whenever, if anyone watches this, the last Bitcoin isn't going to be mined until 2140. So we're all going to be gone unless they come out with some new technology that is able to preserve us. But we're in a part of history, and history just continues to keep being written. And so as you can see here, all of Bitcoin will be mined by 2140. So we're at a big pivotal moment. It's crazy that we're at the start of this, 15 years in. So we're still very, very early. We're at the beginning of this. And a lot of us are going to be able to see how things transition in the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. But there's still, after some of us will be long gone, there's still a lot more that has to be done and happen. So shout out to everybody in the future. You guys have a blessing coming your way. So let's take a look at the fear and greed index. Right now, we're neutral. We were in fear for the last few days, kind of went neutral. You know what they say: be greedy when everyone's fearful, and be fearful when everyone's greedy. So we're kind of leaving out of that fear range. And if you go back and kind of correlate that with where the RSI was, it's kind of holding true. So at this point, there was a lot of fear, and you seen we had got to the oversold, and that was a good opportunity to buy. So if you would have bought in at this period, we had reached a low of for like 49,000. You'd be almost up 20,000, from that point to where we're at right now, whatever you would have invested at the time. Let's get back over there. So that's where we're at, the fear and greed. Let's take a look at the average mining cost. I have found a really good article, and I don't have it up on here right now, but I wanted to do some research on the average mining cost versus the correlation of Bitcoin price. So some lady did a good article, and pretty much there's about a 6 to 9 month window to where Bitcoin price, once the mining costs have reached above what the actual price was of Bitcoin, within that 6 to 9 month period, Bitcoin price surpassed that price. And so I was going back, and they only have back to 2016. I need to find something that goes back a little bit further so I can see if that held true as well prior to 2016. But if you can just look right here, right here was the first time after 2016 that the mining cost was more, it succeeded the price of Bitcoin, and then it overtook it. And then you can see every time that as the mining cost has went above Bitcoin price, in due time, Bitcoin price has caught up or surpassed that. So if we go to right here, May 2024, the average mining cost had got up to 89,000. So today is August 25th. So we're May, June, July, we're about 3 months, almost 4 months after that. So we'll see what happens in these next 4 to 5 months. So that puts us out around November, December. So we'll see if we crack this 89,000 price. So TBC, to be continued. As far as ETF holdings, we shot up a little bit. Get to my notes. Last week we were at 909,834, and so we're up about 9,000, give or take, on ETF holdings. And like I said, I just like looking at this. I'm not a fan of the ETFs, but it supports the cause, and it's a way for those individuals that don't want to take the time to research self-custody, which is very easy and very simple in my opinion. But for maybe the older generation, or for these people that have whatever type of funds, and they're only able to get uh they're only able to get Bitcoin through ETFs, or maybe older people that just feel like it's just too much for them to take the time and learn self-custody and things like that. So maybe ETFs are easier for them. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. I'm not necessarily a supporter of the ETFs, but I'm also not against the ETFs, because like I said, it helps, as more people put money into those ETFs, these companies have to have the Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So, and BlackRock is the leader, and we're number just going up. So we're almost at 1 million. Some things that I've been kind of diving into lately, I've been messing around a lot more with Sparrow Wallet. It's only a desktop computer. They don't have anything for the phone, no apps for the phone. There's a good review on I think Block Door or Block Dior. I don't know how it's pronounced, but this guy did a really good review going over a lot of the privacy, why people should use Sparrow Wallet. And it's also a way for you to be able to connect your node if any of you guys are out there running a node, which I highly recommend. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about that. But he breaks down how to use Sparrow Wallet, what type of hardware wallets you can connect to your Sparrow Wallet, and then what you can do with it, different software wallets, the different compatibility. And then there's a privacy and security test. He scores it a 49 out of 50. So take some time to do some research on Sparrow Wallet, get familiar with that, kind of get up to date, and it would be good for you to know. BTC Sessions has some good YouTube tutorials on how to set up your Sparrow Wallet, and there's some other good tutorials out there as well on YouTube and other good resources. But it's good for, especially if you're running your own node, that way you can be pretty much approving your transactions. You don't have to worry about going through anybody else's node. If you were to send Bitcoin to someone, you're running that through your own node, and you're not having to trust anybody else out there. Something else new that I've been looking at is flare.pub, something I found on Nostr. It's a pretty much it's a YouTube, it's a version of YouTube that's kind of on the lines of like Nostr, a lot of those decentralized platforms, kind of like some of the other ones I was talking about last week. So go take a look at Flare. So I'm having problems trying to get it set up on my phone. There's a way for you to be able to connect your Nostr account to it. So I haven't fully dove all the way into this just yet, but I'm playing around with it. And hopefully by the time I do next week's session, I'll have everything set up and ready to go. And especially YouTube just kicked off a big channel that focuses around Bitcoin information and things like that. I forget the name of the channel, but it was a pretty big channel out there that just got booted off of YouTube. So, people on here, you don't have to worry about anybody booting you off or anything like that. Another one is Highlighter. So Highlighter is pretty much top notes from different articles or videos, or people just kind of writing their notes, some of their own things that they found. So it's a way for you to kind of go through, maybe find some creators that you like that publish things that you like, and they kind of give you a shorter version of maybe a YouTube or article, or they take out some key points on that. So this is something that I'm going to dive into a little bit more as well. Just playing around with it right now. Just wanted to put it out there. So I got my node up and running, and then I also have my miners up and running. So one of my miners is going through a public pool, which is this one right here, which is Brains pool, which is really cool. Wasn't too difficult to set up, so I'm making sats every day. So you're definitely not going to get rich off of this. It's just a cool way to contribute to the cause and help the system out, and also just get familiar with the technical side of things. So like I said, you're not making much money per day, but over here on the other side, I'm doing solo mining as well. So I'm solo mining to have my lottery ticket to potentially hit a block. There was someone that was on a solo pool that hit a block. Let me see. I should have brought it up and put it on here, but I'll tell you guys exactly what block it was because I screenshot it and sent it to somebody. So it was block 853,742. So that block was mine off of Solo CK. Someone was running a BitAxe miner. And so they got the full 3.125 minus the few fees. So they end up getting like 200 and something thousand off of one of the little miners. So it's definitely possible. You can go out there, you can check the mempool, and you can see all the blocks, and you can see either what companies or if someone is solo mining out there. Something else that I got put on was Tor. Tor is a way for you to protect yourself against tracking, surveillance, and censorship. So it's a way for you to pretty much browse without anyone, watching what you're doing wherever you're at. So I've been playing around a little bit with Tor. I need to dive deeper into it. I actually, since I'm overseas right now, I actually use Tor to be able to connect to my node, because I wasn't able to connect to my node from the browser. If you're traveling or on the go, if you're not at home or connected to the Wi-Fi that your node is connected to, you're not going to be able to access it. You can access it through Tor. So I was having issues getting my nodes information on desktop. So I downloaded Tor on my phone, and it worked smooth on my phone. So I wasn't able to get it to work on computer, but I downloaded Tor on my phone, and I was able to access my node and play with things on there, check, the status, make sure everything is up and running. So that's something else that I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to figure out how to be able to access my miners because they're hooked up to my Wi-Fi. So I have to get some type of either VPN for my router to where I can connect to it. So I can go like into the pools that I'm a part of, the solo pool. I can go onto that. I can type in my Bitcoin wallet, my wallet address. I can put that in. Let me show you guys. So if I put my address right here and then click my workers, it will show me what it's doing. And then also the same with the Brains pool, I can access that information as well. So I can access those and make sure my miners are still up and running, but I can't actually check my miners. So when you get your miners up and running, it gives you an IP that you can type in. It's like 9 numbers or something like that, and it puts you right with your miner, so you can see your fan temperature, you can adjust your settings, you can change your Bitcoin address, in case you were to hit one of those blocks, if you wanted to change or if you wanted to change from, the public pools, because there's a few different public pools that you can be a part of. So I'm not able to do all that away. I'm sure there's a way, but I don't know. So I guess I'm trying to figure it out. So we'll see as time goes on. And as far as my dollar cost averaging journey, so I've been doing buys every Monday for $100. And so far where I'm at, I'm going to be doing another buy tomorrow. So I made 4 buys of $100. And then Strike has they have a DCA setting in there to where if you set up auto buys, they waive the fee for you. So my 4th buy, the fee was waived. Last Monday, the fee was waived. So I got the full $100. So now after 4 $100 buys, I'm at $397.36. And that was because Strike was taking their fees. And I've accumulated a total of 0.006661 Bitcoin. And at the price that, I told you I was making this video, the price was 64,190 per Bitcoin. That came out to $427.90. So I'm up 7% in a month's time. So I've DCA'd 4 times. I put in $400. So I'm only going from, I guess, total cost, but I didn't do from 400 what I actually contributed. So I need to actually put that on there to get that true value, but it's still about 7% is what I'm at. So not bad. That's great for only 1 month. And we still got a lot of time and a lot of big things happening to see where I'm at from there. So some YouTube videos that I recommend you guys go check out. Go check out Jack Mallers. Like I said, I'm a big supporter of what he's doing. I really like what he has going on over there at Strike. If he ever sees this, a recommendation I do have and would like to see a part of Strike is for you to be able to have auto buys and then also auto sends to your hardware wallet. That would be really cool. So that's a little suggestion if he ever checks this out or sees this. But he has the Money Matters podcast. I've talked about it before. It's him, his father, and his best friend. They just get on there and talk, and it's really cool to listen to them and hear his dad's side because his dad has been, on the Wall Street side of things for, many decades. So it's good to hear someone who's older, someone who's been through that whole journey, the ups and downs of Wall Street and things like that. So it's good to see and hear his perspective. And then it's also good to hear Jack Mallers chime in and talk about the things that he knows, and they kind of go back and forth, and his friend chimes in, and sometimes his friend will have questions. So this one was very good because at about the 30-minute mark, Jack Mallers brings in a chart that he created, and it's measuring the S&P against like energy cost and Bitcoin cost and all these a few other commodities and things like that. And then he kind of goes on a good rant as to why people need to be investing their time into Bitcoin, their time and their money and their energy. So go check that one out. It really gets good from that 30-minute on forward, but check out the whole thing. Really cool. And like I said, this is Jack Mallers. He launches, he's the Strike CEO. So if you want to read up a little bit about him and what he's doing, he's 30 years old, young dude, making some moves. You love to see it. He's for the people, and I rock with people who are for the people. Here's another good interview that I seen with Adam O'Brien. He's been in the Bitcoin space for a really long time now. It's good to hear people that have been in the space for at least a decade plus. So Adam, he's the founder and CEO of Bitcoin Well. So go check that out. Bitcoin Well is a publicly traded non-custodial Bitcoin organization. And something that he really hits on the head that I really like and agree with is that he's all about self-custody right away. And, he's, telling people stay away from, businesses that aren't, self-custody. That's the right thing to do because, a lot of businesses or whatever, if they're not promoting self-custody, it's kind of opposite of where we're trying to go and what Bitcoin is all about and a part of. And then you just look at the failure of some of those like Mount Gox and a few other, that SBF Chaos and, these other companies that if they were to, if Coinbase or if, even Strike, if any of these companies were to go under, whatever you're holding on those companies, whether it be dollars, Bitcoins, whatever, if you're not self-custodying yourself and something happens to these companies, it's going to be a hard chance for you to get either your money, your Bitcoin, or whatever it is that you have going on those different exchanges. So he definitely promotes self-custody, and I like what he was talking about. And then it's also just good to hear people that have been in the space longer and, before, the ETFs got approved, before we're definitely where we're at today. So that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, looking forward to diving into this last week. I'm jet lagged. These time zone differences got me, but I'm sticking to this and I'm out.